Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We're here today talking about Star Wars Ahsoka, Season 1, Episode 5, Shadow Warrior. It sounds like a Call of Duty game title, Shadow Warrior.
It does indeed.
For the PS2. Alright, anyway. Alright, we open with Hera and Jason landing on Cetos searching for Ahsoka and Sabine. They find Huyang lamenting that the Master and Padawan didn't stay together as requested. We end with the newly returned Ahsoka the White, Lord of the Rings homage, communing with the Purgle. One of the Purgle agrees to eat their ship. I assume just hold it in his mouth, but we'll see. That could be the surprise twist. Oh, and we died. That was right. Anyway, and the Purgle hyperspace off to the distant galaxy where Sabine, Thrawn, and Ezra await, leaving Hera, Jason, and the other New Republic pilots behind. That said, Paul.
Yes.
What'd you think of Episode 5?
I give it a 6.
All right.
I liked it slightly less than the previous week.
So less. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Spoiler alert. I think it's actually the best of the episode so far, but it has problems. But okay, so you're going a little lower. Go for it. 6.
Yeah. Those whales just don't do it for me.
Yes, those were not a plus to the episode.
Yeah.
That way. Yeah.
So that's A. B, or 2.
R2D2.
You know, this, whatever they feature, like official, I shouldn't say whenever, because I guess I liked when Ahsoka was training Sabine, I guess, an episode.
Oh, sure, right.
But the training is a fight and a flashback and, a reminder that Anakin was Vader. And so I guess that's supposed to mean something to Ahsoka. I don't know what.
Okay, we can talk about that.
All that training stuff I didn't really have a use for. Is that the lesson for her, is that she actually has to get ready for war? I mean, she didn't know.
I know, it's true. What is the lesson out of this? It was a question I came away with, which was...
The lesson is that, we can get Anakin in here, and therefore Hayden Christensen.
That's right.
So, we give a nice young actress, Ariana Greenblatt, to be the young Ahsoka, who seems much less annoying than the animated Ahsoka, so that's good.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'll talk about that, too. I actually saw Clone Wars, the animated film, in theaters, and regretted every second of it. But anyway.
But you like this. Apparently, it's like, I wish that, I set myself up, the previous talk we had, for imagining that, Jason had some sort of character, but no, he's just your typical, oh boy, it's so good to be in a warlike situation, yay!
God, yeah.
See, now I'm Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, good job, Mickey. I suppose it's kind of like Phantom Menace, right, with young Anakin. Whippy! You're like, he's a kid actor. I'm not going to be hard.
No, they're not giving him anything to play.
Yeah.
They could write the character more complex than that, but no, he's just a typical kid. I
did appreciate the fight training. Admittedly, it's almost like Dave Filoni got a note after Andor. Use lightsabers. There is a lightsaber fight, which, you know what? I mean, like 10-year-old me, I'd be like, more lightsabers, yes! And I still like lightsaber fights. In fact, there are some gorgeous dueling scenes here between Anakin and Ahsoka. Just the backdrop, the way it looks, it looks. I mean, I was like, wow, nice. That looks great. But I do feel like there's a threshold at which you've done too much. Like, okay, you've sacrificed a plot for lightsabers and move on. But I did enjoy them. I'll say in this, it was gorgeous, some gorgeous scenery there, and I'll give them a little check box on that. But yes,
apparently it was that did it for you. This is the best episode of the season for you.
it's the best episode so far. I would say only because of the Anakin Ahsoka. The beginning, the searching parts with Hera and Jason and the crew, and then the ending with the Purrgil, just painfully slow. They're so ponderous. There's a sense of like, Dave Filoni's like, look, we need to spend time with this. Just draw it out because it's like, somehow I want to register how important this moment is, but it feels almost too precious. Like, okay, the Purrgil are a vehicle to get to the other place. This isn't the end of the show. This isn't like the end of the movie with the big thing. It's just like, oh, we got a ride. Okay, take it. Move on. Why are you spending so many minutes? Oh, it's the way. And they look, okay, I see. It looks cool. You did a good job on the animation of the whale. It looks good. Move on. So there is still that problem. That's a problem they've had all season. There are certain scenes that just drag way too much, and you had that problem here again today. But that middle section, I thought there was something to it. I did appreciate it. And as much as these scenes dragged, and so the execution was bad, I did appreciate the focus somewhat on the spirituality of the Force and not just the combat. I mean, I get it. There was a lot of combat.
Was there? Where was that?
So, for instance, Jason is hearing the lightsabers in the water, and he tells his mom to, still your mind and listen, and then you can hear.
Yeah, you can hear the battle.
What? Spiritually, Paul. The fact that Ahsoka does pull a Gandalf, and it's.
See, that's why you liked it. If Dave Filoni wanted to, make it even more higher in your estimation, is have Ahsoka wear a beard.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I guess Filoni actually referenced that similarity back in the day with a cartoon panel he drew where he put them in it. So it's an intentional thing. It wasn't just like, oh, it so happens. He was basically Gandalfing Ahsoka. Now, major differences, and I could spend the next hour thrilling you, Paul, by breaking down how Gandalf and Moria distinct from Ahsoka and Sita. I'm not going to do that. TLDR, they both wore gray. They both fell to their apparent deaths. And then they both returned from death as saintly figures wearing white. So I guess in some ways their experiences have elevated their spirituality. Maybe you could say that. That's the extent of the similarities. Again, it's kind of calling to this idea of the spiritual side of the Force. She then has this communing moment with the Purrgil. But yeah, again, it spent a lot of time on it. Ezra had already done it. It's not like now I'm the first person ever to communicate with the Purrgil. No, we've actually years ago there was another Jedi who did it. So I don't. Anyway, so yeah, that was just execution. Not great at the beginning and ending. I did like the execution, but as you say, this middle section, what was the lesson to be learned? Like, I'm here to teach you, complete your training, which interesting in that she didn't complete her training with Anakin. She left before their training was complete, so it kind of makes sense. All right, we're picking up.
A fight, and then
but fight, exactly.
You with some flashbacks, and then it's like, oh, was she suicidal before? Now she wants to live.
Yeah, so I guess the lesson to be learned was don't give up. I guess I thought it was heading at first. This is interesting. I thought it was heading towards a violence isn't the answer resolution. I don't think that was what happened. Because we see teenage Ahsoka slaughtering enemy soldiers, not droids.
Sure.
There are people in armor that she is during the siege of Mandalore. So it's visually engaging. It looked incredible, but it is grim stuff. It's this kid with supernatural powers basically being used as this brutal killing machine. And so my reaction to that scene was like, wow, it's amazing she didn't turn out psychotic like Anakin.
Sure.
She's just stabbing people over and over again. So I was a bit confused as to what the takeaway was.
So what's the point of it then? So you just liked it was battles. That's all.
Well, no, I do think there was a...
Oh, and that, she comes back wearing white. Okay.
I do think there was a point to it, but my initial thought as I watched it, I was like, wait, so is the message of this, like, remember when you were a teenager and you killed dozens, if not hundreds of people in hand-to-hand combat? That was great training. Use that valuable skill now to stay alive. You're like, okay, all right. They went to 2 battles, right? So Anakin takes Ahsoka to 2 battles.
Yes.
One was the first battle that they fought together from Clone Wars, the animated film, as I mentioned. I went to see that. The other was that Siege of Mandalore, which actually the show notes that Anakin didn't actually participate in that one. He wasn't.
Sure.
They weren't together at that point. So let's take you to that battle that I wasn't a part of. Like, okay.
Yep.
He did mention the legacy of the Master-Padawan relationship, the lessons passed down, and it did occur to me that, little kid Anakin was fighting in battles, fearing for his life when he was 10, when he was yippee, So there's this implication that that past for that experience kind of maybe helped to develop the personality that would later go full Vader. And so maybe there's this implication that, like, she had all the trappings, if she'd wanted to go that direction, of kind of going full Vader, essentially, because she was also, as a kid, going around just laying waste to people on a battlefield. And what does that do to you? And so maybe there's this sense of she has this fear that she'll turn into what her master turned into, who was a terrible space Hitler. So anyway.
Okay, I don't think that's in the text, but okay. All right. If that's what you got of it, that's good.
Yeah. It did make me also think, this is somewhat tangential, but just like teenage Luke, blowing up the Death Star.
Yes.
Yes, it was kill or be killed, and he saved the rebellion, and he saved countless lives.
Sure.
But he'd still have to carry that weight, right? It's a teenage kid, essentially. Maybe he was 19, 18, 19, whatever. But I looked it up because most technical questions anyone has about Star Wars have probably been answered. And sure enough, okay, you want to guess? How many people do you think teenage Luke killed when he blew up the Death Star?
Oh, I don't know, 2 million?
It's exactly right. Did you look this up?
Wow, I just thought about something that size and how many people might be on it.
Approximately 2 million people,
okay,
and a few 100,000 droids.
I never got the impression that bothered him.
No, exactly. But so it just makes me think all of those folks, Ahsoka included, are essentially
now it was
kids killing folks.
Like when that happened. Wait, no. When was it Alderaan? I think we saw Ben feel that, right?
Right.
But I don't think we saw Luke feel that.
Right. Great point. He didn't feel Alderaan, and then he certainly didn't feel the Death Star.
He's just driving away.
Woohoo! Kid,
yeah,
one in a
thanks.
million. Anyway, here's a medal. Birthday cake. Killed 2 million people. All right. Good luck with I feel like one of the first Jedi techniques he might have learned from Yoda was like coping with PTSD.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these people, for as much as the Jedi Order is supposed to be about balance and meditation and tranquility, I mean, they are death-dealing machines, and they have been, and so I think maybe part of that's what I was maybe optimistically, I was putting that into the text, but the idea that Ahsoka's like, yeah, I grew up in a similar context to this guy who turned out terrible, and he's my master, and like I need to try not to be that. And so so my interpretation of the fight scenes when they're fighting is I got out of it that there were 2 ways she could lose. Either she could just give up and be like, I'm not going to fight you, and then he would just strike her down, and then she would, I guess in the real world, drown. Or she could succumb to the fear of death, like Anakin did, basically, wanting to save Padme from dying. That was kind of what led him down the dark side. Fall to the dark side, slay Anakin to save herself, and so lose herself. And so instead she disarmed him and threw away his lightsaber. So she defeated him without taking that extra step and then letting anger strike him down. And so she kept herself and she stayed alive. So I don't know. That's kind of what I got out of it.
I see.
Okay. No. I mean, I do feel like it is a vague thing that is.
Yes, it's a really vague thing. So to me, it's a crucial example. That should have been, the speech in Andor where he tells him about how he lost everything.
Yeah.
It should have been that. It should have been a mobilizing point for her, and I just didn't get that at all.
Okay. I mean,
good thing they had another battle or a couple more battles. That's good.
And they looked cool.
They showed us. That she has been in battle before. Okay.
I'll just say, watching that first battle when it was first done back in the Clone Wars animated film, I remember going in. I was kind of hyped for that film because
I feel like I'm listening to your PTSD session.
Yeah, I know. I just, I was expecting. I knew that the premise was, hey, it's about Anakin's Padawan, or at least she's a major character in this, and so we're going to get to see Anakin training someone, and we know it's doomed. We know that just a couple of years later, everything goes wrong, and so that's really interesting to see. Like, what is this about? And the film just totally squandered that. She was annoying, but the plot went nowhere. It was really done for young kids, and it just, So I did appreciate that, because I did think that was the kind of central thing. Is here's this doomed relationship. Let's see more about that. And I feel like this was, in this little 20 minutes or 15 minutes that we got to see it, it was an attempt to say, like, yeah, here were these people that they had a relationship. They were, he was training her, and then he went off the deep end. And what is it like knowing that you had basically a life coach that turned into Space Hitler? Like, how do you deal with that and be like, he taught me a lot of lessons. Should I listen to him?
That's the potential of what it could have been.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that from there.
Okay. All right.
I didn't.
Maybe she's also thinking, like, because we do see after that she is able to see that Sabine essentially betrayed.
Yes.
The Last Order and gave up, and so she knows that.
So that's just her way of seeing important information that she wasn't before.
But it does also a reminder of what it's like to be, like a Padawan in the relationship. So she, in this case, is the master relationship, and so she's disappointed in this moment. But
I know how she feels.
Maybe she feels like she might be the Anakin in this relationship, and maybe she wants to. Again, that's not said. I'm throwing that in there.
I think she would be more the Obi-Wan, right?
In terms of who was Anakin's master, in other words, who taught Space Hitler?
Right. Yeah. So,
yeah. Obi-Wan taught Space Hitler. Yes.
Yeah.
In this case, I don't think she thinks of Sabine as Space Hitler yet. She just, had a.
Well, she did betray her, and although you don't get the sense that she understood that, she more seemed to hear them and see that they were able to leave. So it didn't. I didn't get the sense that she felt betrayed, especially, or like, oh, you fucked it up. I knew you couldn't do it. I didn't get any of that. It was just sort of like, oh, she went with him.
I got the opinion, again, they didn't say it, so you're right.
No, they didn't.
But I again, maybe I'm writing a fanfic here, I don't know. But it's like, oh, look, this thing was destroyed by a lightsaber. They left. She's not here. I get that she gave it up, and then they destroyed this and then took off with her. I think that's she probably got that idea. So, but here's another question, though, that occurred to me in relation to that. So Sabine sacrificed this map in order to give a chance to meet up with Ezra, right?
Yes.
And let's assume that's going to happen. Okay.
Sure.
So when that happens, I mean, that'll be an interesting conversation. I'm interested to see how this goes, because she's going to basically at some point have to kind of come clean to Ezra.
Sure.
Hey, that sacrifice you made to remove Thrawn as a threat from the world, I made that obsolete so that I could come find you. How about that? Yeah. There we go. Now he can come back. Anyway, good to see you.
Don't bother to say thank you.
Yeah, right. Hey, I found you. I made it all worthless. So that'll be an interesting. I would hope that in that moment there'd be a what? She would have to kind of be redeemed for that in Ezra's eyes. That he would see that as a big failing, and like, do I know who you are? What the hell were you doing? Anyway, so we'll see how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see if any drama comes as a result of it.
Right. So that's interesting. I didn't think you were going to give it a lower score than the others. That's funny. I kind of thought you might go like, samesies or something, but you're like, no, worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
And it's because of the amount of fighting, right? You're just like fight.
Well, yeah, it's like, come on. Sheesh. It's like you got these two characters, and if they had better dialogue between the two of them as they were fighting, I would have been for it. It's an important scene, even though that's an important character. There should be conflict between them, but all that's way it's expressed is through battle. And I'm just not getting anything out of the other. That all that stuff with the kid being Lassie and finding everything. And,
old Chopper. Chopper's actually the hero of the episode because Chopper discovered where she was. If she comes back, it's like Anakin's like, you passed the test. Good on you. And then she wakes up and dies because she's way underwater and drowns. But Chopper knew where she was, gave her the coordinates, so Chopper wins the MVP
and Captain Teva and his, that little standoff he had.
That was not. It seemed like Dave Filoni was trying to create tension. Oh my God, they have to use the Purrgil, but they could use the Purrgil in some ways at any time they want. But no, because they're going to get arrested. Okay. Will they though? I mean, okay. Yeah. And so they had to make that the thing of like, oh no, this is mildly annoying to them, so they can't. No. Okay. That's why I feel like that scene, and in fact, even the way it was filmed, would be more effective at the end. Let's say, for instance, if they needed the Purrgil to get back. Oh my God, we're being attacked. Blah, 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 blah. We had to get out of here. We only have seconds. Oh, look, here's our way back. And then they use the thing that they've been foreshadowing for the entire series. Oh, the Purrgil go back and forth between this place. Hey, they could just use them. But to do it now when there's really no, there was no tension. There was just no tension in it at all, and then they just dragged it out. Okay, all right. They got on the bus essentially. They took a bus. Okay, got it. Space bus. So even in my eyes, when I think this is the best episode so far, I bracket it into the Anakin Ahsoka stuff because I do think there was something to get out of that, and visually there was some very gorgeous scenes in my opinion. But the beginning and end were kind of same old. It's like, that's this show. Damn it. We'll be back talking about episode 6, where I think at long last we will meet up with Thrawn. Let's see how this all progresses.
And Ezra?
That's a good question. Do we see Ezra at the same time?
I feel like we would see Ezra before we saw Thrawn, but what do I know?
Oh. Okay, you're saying Ezra first, then Thrawn. I'm going to go with Thrawn, then Ezra.
Oh, okay.
So maybe not even an Ezra till episode 7. Okay. So I'm gonna predict episode 6, Thrawn. Oh my God, this new galaxy we're in we're getting whooped or something. And then
because I feel like typically what happens when you have a great journey like this is that you have to orient yourself. And so while there may be somebody that they fight when they first get there, it won't be Thrawn because you want to build that
I see.
up.
It'll be like random creature, and then they're saved by Ezra or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like, what's going on with Thrawn? It's like, he's amassed all this power here.
Oh, sure.
And so they have to prepare you.
He plugs you into what's happened since, in other words.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's... You may have talked me into that, sir. All right.
Ooh.
I'm sticking to my guns.
Let me talk you into a lower score with the episode.
I'll give it a 2.
You know what else sucked?
I'm going to stick to my guns. For the sake of being contrarian, I'm going to say Thrawn first. You're going Ezra first. We'll find out in episode 6.
Curses. I pushed it.
And stay tuned for my Gandalf in Moria monologue. Okay, so thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir.
No problem.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.